The birds outside are welcoming you, Tawnya Moseley, and everyone who's watching today to come together for this beautiful conversation. There is something special about it, and I'm so curious what's going to unfold. To know about the specialty, even the postman came much earlier, so I could have a conversation with all of you and you, Tawnya, undisturbed, that it can flow as long as it wants to, and that it arises. So everyone, all the way from Kansas, and for me in Germany it's a long way, we have Tawnya today. Thank you for... It's a very German word, but you write it different and pronounce it a little different. Yeah, we have this name as well. It's going to be... I'm going to ask you a little bit of what it means. And you have this beautiful last name of Moseley, which is very close to my heart, because when I blossomed up in the US, my best friend was called with her last name Moseley. So I'm very happy to speak to you today.
Well, I'm so happy you invited me. Thank you for letting me be here and channel and express and tell you a little bit more about myself. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be here.
So what connected us, I think, was the connection of love, both of our strong desire to envelop everyone, to take them into our arms, I think, especially for me, and to let them feel that they're loved, that there's someone there for them, that you're not alone, that I'm not alone, right?
Yeah.
So this is the most beautiful thing for me, even though I'm really into creating beauty and bringing out the beauty, but it has to be done in a very loving way. And what is really love? Love is a beautiful feeling, or it is this purity of encumbrance in everything, or as it's often, beauty also encumbrances everything, and it's probably not even easy to separate and distinguish out. It flows, and these energies work together to create a beautiful dance. And so I would love what you feel with the love for you.
Hard to wrap our brains around when we have gone through so much in our lives, as I call them with my clients, triggers from childhood, can be very challenging. So when I teach and I talk and I try to pull this out and recognize, because soul recognition is what I teach. Mm-hmm. Everything you have is within you. So I tell everybody that I am like a tiny mirror. I have like little mirrors that's all up. I want people to visualize me as a mirror, because what you see in me is actually what you see in yourself. So every time that they're like, oh, it's just kind of like you see things in other people. So anybody you work with or whoever you idolize, recognizing that you have those strengths within you, and you just need to pull them out and recognize it. And it comes to a place where, like we talked about, having these traumatic times in childhood where they have maybe been pushed out with others, knowing that you aren't alone. You are always connected to Source, God, the angelic realm, so many beings that we cannot physically see, but energetically we can feel the warmth of their love, and knowing that we are connected to them always. This is just a stepping stone on our journey.
So how you I don't know did you get started in a way? Yes, but you use a very interesting word. You use what was it?
Knowing.
Yeah. You carry your knowledge. I can feel it. You walk your knowledge. You're always in the state of knowing. that I'm the same way, right? There is no going in and out. We always connected, or you're probably, yeah, right, always you embody your fullness. Some of you may say it's the soul, I say the source. We're always in ourselves, in every cell of our body.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I say our soul is our navigation system. It's what we were born with. So everybody has the sense of knowing. It's just life has kind of put an umbrella of all over us, where sometimes it gets a little cloudy, our sense of knowing, because the ego mind starts stepping in and the worldly aspects start coming in, and that's where there is no hell. Our thoughts are our hell, that's what we create. And I have learned that so much. I was born and raised always that said, my mother and my grandma always said, your thoughts create your reality. And it really kind of bothered me as a teenager, because you're just kind of like going through, and then after time, and they always said, promote, allow, and create. I used to hear that constantly throughout my life, and it really bothered me. And like I said, until I was older, and then I really understood, you create your reality. So be cognitive on what you're thinking, because that is what you create. And it's a very tricky concept to get around, because when it starts manifesting itself in your life, then you kind of sit back and say, wow, I've been thinking about this the whole time. Sorry, the angels are messing with my Siri.
That's okay.
Welcome to my world. And then we realize, wow, I really need to be cognitive on my thoughts, because I never know what will manifest from our thoughts. So I've always had that sense of knowing. I talked about it in my podcast. I kind of had a traumatic upbringing. I was diagnosed with a subaortic mass at 2. So the doctors told my parents that I wasn't going to live to see my teenage years. So I was in and out of the hospital from 2 to 16. So that kind of takes a number on anybody. Yes. So I always actually doing a deep meditation and going back is when I realized at 2 I had an NDE. Saw myself standing outside of the operating room watching them, and that was my first memory of life, because I woke up during surgery and saw the doctor and the lights were above me. So yeah, I had some traumatic stuff from 2 to 16, outlived the doctors, had a surgery at 16, a valve replacement, that was treacherous. And then I always could read people, kind of like what you were saying, the sense of knowing, like I knew things, and I just really thought I was a really good guesser. I didn't really think, I thought everybody had this. I didn't think I was different, even though people around me would tell me that I was different. And then when I had my child, I married my high school sweetheart, and we had kids, and my daughter could see. She could see angels sitting in the room, my past grandmother who had died when I was in high school. So stuff like that would happen throughout my house. And I just thought my daughter was special. And I could have that feeling like you talked about, like, I knew when people were around that it passed, but I just really didn't think anything of it, because I was kind of raised this way, so I just thought everybody kind of had this. And then when I really stepped into my meditation, my grandma was my spiritual teacher. And I would talk to her about what I'd experienced, and I met my spirit guide doing a deep meditation. And I had kind of just got into meditation, so I thought, this is what everybody did when they meditated. I just thought, oh, this is so cool. I thought when the yogis were doing this, like everybody did this. I just thought this is what you did. Like you meditated, you met your spirit guide, you hung out. And I told my grandma, and my grandma was like, that's so awesome. And So that's why also I assumed she didn't say that wasn't normal, nothing. And I tell my friends that didn't, I said, you should meditate. You're going to meet your spirit guide. It's awesome. And they'd kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool, Tawnya. So after, and before then, I had had a high school boyfriend who had passed away, and he would visit me very often. He would stand behind me. I could feel him. One time, I could feel him in the room, and I said, if you were here, Gabe, I said, knock over something so I know you're here. And the shower bottles knocked over, and I was laying in bed, and we were asleep. So I could feel him around. He was around a lot. And then when my grandma had passed, I was in the room with her. And as we're talking now, after she had passed, I could hear her in my head, like as we were talking on the phone. And I just thought, didn't really think anything of it again. And she would come around when I was meditating. I could feel her around. We'd have conversations. And then about 9 months later, I got a reading from a medium, and she told me I was different and that I should go into this line of work. And as you were saying, the sense of knowing, so the door was always open, and then when I flung it open and allowed and stepped into this, it just flooded in.
That's really interesting. So how did it change the moment you said yes to yourself? So in a way, you already said the whole time yes to yourself, but I think probably interesting to hear there is because there are many people who hear or see, and you were very, very lucky that there was no one suppressing it or using violence or not believing in you, that you're dreaming, making things up. Yeah.
Oh, no, I had that.
Yeah, and in your family, from your mother. Ooh, okay. So, but what was then the strength within you that when you got that reading, you said, no, that's it now. I really have to go out there into this world and bring myself forward, show myself and my gifts and my work?
It's a good question, because I have seen, because I do one-on-one coaching with clients and people who are saying, I really want to step into this. I didn't really have that. I was more pushed into this by spirit. So it was very gradual. There was episodes before that when I was meditating, some things that would happen. I could hear things, and they were gradually pushing me into it. And then when I took just kind of a course to kind of go over the basics, I guess you would say, they just kind of stepped in. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm going to do this. Like, I really didn't even know I was going to do this. So it wasn't even the sense that I thought I was going to do this. It was just spirit kind of said, you're doing this.
But you listened.
I did. I was a business professional before this. I was an insurance agent. I was a dental assistant. So now I tell everybody that I'm still a business professional. My business is just with spirit now. So it's just a little bit different. So that was tricky, because it just, I kind of tell it as like you're driving a standard car. That moment where you just kind of slide in, that's just kind of how it moved in for me. Like, it just went from just sliding into gear. It just kind of flowed. So even looking back, it's not that I was even ready to step in. I just kind of was pushed. I was pushed. I do see with a lot of clients that some people have the choice to work with spirit. Like, you don't always have a sense of knowing, but to actually stepping out and doing this as a profession, you have the choice. I didn't have the choice.
Yeah.
So this is just
so, but what is it? There is something that you said, I don't have a choice. So that means, or is there something within you deep that you knew you will love it, or there's another drive? Because what I've understood a little bit about you is you really live your knowledge. So that means your connections, your information you bring to this world is very accurate and very precise. You also have other beings, and later maybe you can talk about, you channel also Sion, that you bring in here and then. They support you and you get all these messages. But you said okay to walk forward. Even though they pushed you, you could have said, oh my God, no, you forget it, slammed all doors closed, walked backward, pulled that, if you talk about a car, right? You take the handbrake, you push the other brake, and then you just, even out of a driving car, maybe open the door and jump out. You didn't do that. So what is it that you can say, what is the tiny thing that you saw and noticed within you? Yes, this is the way to go.
Love.
Wonderful.
Connecting. Because I had always, and I always say that you teach what you struggled with your whole life. I teach deep self-love because there are so many years I didn't love myself completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I did, but I didn't. So I worked towards that. And when you really step into this and do it as that's not the correct language. I don't like that language, but you give your life over and you just say, I want to work for Spirit, I want to work for God, and I just want to move through love. You have to do so much healing first within yourself before you can help somebody else. So I did years of healing, not realizing it. And then it was like the last layer of deep healing. And you're going through stuff, you're like, I don't want to go through this anymore. And I still heal. Every day I heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really...
I love helping people, just as you do. I love to help people.
Yeah, right. And I think it's also... it's not just the helping. It is something... a deeper striving. It comes so strong because it's like I always call it's also even our spiritual purpose. We know we're here just to do that. There is a bigger picture that's not even on the individual basis, because often, and I got that out of the conversation, it's like we have to say it's an okay work to do spiritual work, yeah, compared to all other fields that exist. It's still very hard for most of us and to say, this is my full life and it's okay, yeah. But why we can do that, I think at the end, is because we feel that there is a bigger element. It is the individual to move into, but also to support, to guide, to give, to be an inspiration for, right? We have to live on knowledge, to inspire, so someone can say, oh, I want that too, right? Mm-hmm. And it is, but also the world, that we look outside and we hear this thing, that it's this larger thing, and then more of us human beings, I think, that we get in contact with, that they come into this stream. They come into this stream and into this flow, in this natural flow where everything around us is already, and then become easier, and then we don't feel this resistance or having to decide, say, oh, our work is real work too. It's a different field. So I think we're here to even change a whole mindset, a whole social and even structural memory. Yeah, so that is something. And how can you do it? It is really by helping or supporting people, and by relaxing, and even us to relax fully into ourselves, into our body.
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing people struggle with is fear, because everybody's afraid of the unknown. And as I have worked with so many clients, their biggest thing is fear. Yeah. Fear of other people's rejections, fear of letting themselves down. And that's when you can take away fear, their driving force, and replace it with love, your whole life changes. Your whole life changes.
So when you speak about self-love, I've been thinking that myself often recently about it. And so self-love, it is not just loving ourselves. It is, because then, love often, if you had problems with love or not feeling love, the word already you don't like, yeah, the vocabulary. So sometimes it's whatever experience you had with this vocabulary, it influences you. So even then, so many people use the word self-love, but there I sense something different in you. Then this self-love is really one observing and really just taking a little time for oneself, but acknowledging and becoming aware of one's desires in a way, yes. And of one's ideas that make us smile, that make us feel light and free, and do those things that are at ease. We are at ease with. It's very simple for us to do because they're part of us, and letting go a little bit of everything that is not us, or maybe more about others, right? Something. Yes. Like, how would you tell that, people?
I talk about emotions, because everything that you are looking outward, you must find inward. So yes, it's more than just deep self-love. That's just kind of my title, because there's so much that goes on. Because when somebody, I'm doing a thing on my page where we use emotional feelings, and these are just ones I read every day, and I have them up. So, positive emotions that you want to feel every day. So when you have these out, this is what you want to create. Mm-hmm. So many times when you talk about manifesting, they immediately apply a material need to it. But what you're actually manifesting is the feeling. What does joy look like? Well, that could mean 100 different things. So if you just go on the basic, the feelings, then manifestation becomes a whole different reality, because you leave it open to the universe. And I want to create joy in my life, and I don't. And it doesn't matter how it comes. So when I work with deep self-love, first of all, we kind of clear the karma of any past triggers that has blocked them from going deeper and has shut them down. Mm-hmm. This could be karmically over lifetimes. I go in psychically and figure out, this is lifetimes, or is this current state? And then each client is different, and that I will channel directly what they need, not just what I think of. It's directly from God, from Source, what they need from the angels. Sometimes it's imagery work, exactly what you just said, seeing yourself. Some people are visuals, and they can do this in the mirror, or sometimes people need a vision board. And I always tell people, don't put a sports model up unless you plan on being at the gym 8 hours a day. I don't want a sports model body because I don't like going to the gym. Yeah. So using emotional feelings that what you want to create. A lot of people that meditate, it starts seeing yourself in meditation and who you want to be, because that's who you become. So it's what you talked about, doing this energetically and physically. Mm-hmm. Clearing out karma in the past, so it aligns to your future. So there's lots that goes on than more than just deep self-love. There's so much to it, because we are more than one thing.
Yeah, we have so many multiple facets, and I think that's a big reason, because of the social factors. You have to be an expert here, and you have to be an expert there, and what are you going to be? You have to be one thing. That's, yes. From school they start asking little children. I remember my son had to be asked that when he was 6, the first few weeks. So, they're already supposed to know and create a vision. In a way, it's nice, but it's like so separated. They don't make it vast enough. And what I've noticed, we're vast beings. We have knowledge, unending knowledge of a life. And why do we always have to push it and squeeze it into something? And this squeezing and this condensing is what hurts out of my experiences. Luckily, I found landscape architecture or art. I could use all of my interests and live them and do it fully. But many, they say, oh, don't do this, just concentrate on one. But for example, creative people, they have many, but even everyone is creative. We have to even stop saying creative and non-creative people. We're very creative, each single being. that we can live whatever in the moment we desire and follow the body. So if the body feels like doing this, listen to the body, right? That is what I understand a little bit about you use the word pure divine eternal love. So the divinity is in seeing our divinity within, and then also our material, right? The material of our body. So now I feel like writing, then you write. Now you want to go outside and walk. Next day or moment you want maybe to paint or meet someone or speak with someone, or you go into something and unravel or engineer something, so that we can really choose and maybe take away all these schedules that are posed upon us when, then again, started so early with school, and it's still within us, and unraveling and taking slowly this apart, or taking realities apart that we don't, and dissolving them so we can create new ways. We can create new ways of what we desire to live and how we want. You said it so beautifully, to feel how we want to experience it. And I think most people nowadays want it easy. You can see it in the vocabulary. If you look around how things are written on the internet or in books, suddenly they pop up everywhere, right? It's this ease and simplicity. They don't want this complexity they don't understand, or is overloading them. Mm-hmm. And to find that's I think what's coming, and we're all moving forward to.
I love it, because as you're talking, I'm getting downloads.
Okay, share them with all of
It's
us.
saying, they're saying recognize your light and use your heart. So as you were just describing, because you were just speaking from the heart and moving as like going outside, painting, doing that. But when you start deciphering the heart from the head, listening to your inner voice, and they bring back the birds at the beginning of this to that little chirp inside you. Because that little chirp starts getting louder and louder. Because it, like I said at the beginning, when it gets muffled, it just becomes that little chirp. And when you start listening to that again, listening and trusting that's when it becomes louder and louder. That's when your light starts getting brighter and brighter, because you're recognizing this vast being inside of you, knowing that you are one and you're one with them, or one within you, connected, filled with divine heavenly love. And it's this feeling, you know exactly what I'm talking about, like you want to bathe in this. It's so heavenly. I love this. So when you feel this within, and you feel that energetic, that through every cell of your body, then you start feeling it outward. Then you start aligning to other individuals who feel this, and start awakening people around you. And I always say, be the ripple. It starts here, and if the rippling effect, your light shines outward. What is that? Tasting sweet air. So when you are outside, I love this. It's for all the people that are connected to nature, knowing that you're connected to nature. So they said, taste it, touch it. I say, turn your face to the sun, because that's God's energy, that's Source's energy. And you can, knowing that you are connected to every cell, every organism in this planet, but it's in a state of feeling. And so many people have been cut off from their feelings so long because they're afraid to feel. So they said, if you're not ready to connect with somebody else, go outside and just feel nature. Close your eyes and feel. knowing that you are loved completely whole for who you are. Not worrying about past mistakes, future things, but completely whole, wholly loved for who you are. Okay. Knowing that you never take a wrong step. And I think so many people get stuck on that is they're afraid they're going to make a wrong decision, and they just say, there is no wrong step. And they show me like wings, and you're wrapped in this love. And that there is no wrong step. That every step you make, and they show me a heart, and if you move, and this is in the beginning I saw this as a heart in between us, if you move in every direction with love, you'll never make a wrong step. And even if sometimes your ego mind slips in there, still not a wrong step. You're still supported and loved. I know. So, they say that if everybody could understand how much they are loved, our planet would raise up in a different vibration. It would just raise up just knowing how unconditionally they are loved. And a love that it's just not the four-letter word of kind of, it's just in a, gosh, I can't even find human words for this. And a purity is the best way I can describe it. Just keep saying they're always there. They're always there.
Ah, that's the sign. Okay, it's interesting to observe you that when you took your earbud out so you could understand them and be very free in taking in the information. Beautiful words. Thank you. The spirits that spoke, the beings that brought this wisdom to us. I think everyone felt it. Everyone felt it. Your words. And I would love to add a song to this for everyone, to embed it, to facilitate this understanding, this moving into nature, to understanding that we're loved, and not an understanding from here, but the understanding from the heart, that we're all connected to one and we're really part of each other. And that's why we all come together and understand and feel that we're loved, and we're going to get to it. That's one thing I always knew as a little child already. This will happen. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. You know.
So as you were doing that,
Yeah.
I was channeling.
Wonderful.
Said, that was fascinating, by the way, because they stepped in and I just started. So it was expansions. I wish I could overlay what I'm about to say with your channeling, because it was fantastic.
Maybe one day we can do that.
Oh my gosh.
You write and I sing at the same time. It's possible. We can do it.
Expansion of the heart, stepping into the light, open up to other dimensions of self and universe. Mm-hmm. Claircognizance, so the thing of seeing, is awakening. Trust the process. See the light in the world. Feel the vibration. Step into your power. We are one. Now is the time to recognize your strength. That's when you kind of went really deep, and then you switched and it said, step into the unknown. Earth is flying into the unknown. Spread your wings, and then you changed into that soft, and it said, spread your wings and fly. Take flight, soar, fly, be, release. It was beautiful. I was so happy. I'm like,
right, quicker.
Like, okay, hold on.
Slow down.
Yes, but I was like, oh my gosh, I could feel the vibration in my body. I could see the heart expanding with every single person watching this, and then stepping deeper within themselves and starting to recognize other dimensions and seeing through clarity. Oh. You did amazing. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, so beautiful.
Thank you. I love this idea, to be somewhere. If you're speaking, let's go. And as we said, our words, our thought is what creates. To be at a place one day where you write and people can see it behind me, and I'll be singing and maybe even dancing, and they can react. That I love interactive experiences. So this it's going to be beautiful. It's not wood. It's going to happen. Yes, where we have a lot of come together. Oh, I can't wait.
I know, I have the chills. I'm like, I love that when spirit comes in, because I just get the chills up and down. So that was super powerful.
It's a multi-level, and I think that's why we were speaking about the multi-levelity of and multi-facets, and it's so complex. It's not all one, and so I mean, yes, it's all one, but right. Where we don't have to, we can bring it all together, and it even creates something more expansive, something. The word vastness functions very beautiful. It creates a vastness, and this vastness has a fullness to it where we can let ourselves fall backward or forward into, or to the side, and it is always in a way catching and embracing at the same time. But again, on top of it, at the same time, it's moving us forward. Yes. I love it.
I do too. And knowing that it's that easy, just what everybody felt as you did that, it's moving into that with ease and holding on to what you experienced when you were channeling. That vibration, that feeling, the tingling sensation. It's just that easy. Thinking about it, and I use this terminology a lot in my on my page, is moving like water, flow like water, flow with ease. So anytime you want to flow into something, think of it as water. It runs easy to us. Think of water as all aspects of your life and moving in ease. So if somebody may have been bound up, you just transition them to a state of ease with your tone. And it's that simple. Sometimes I think people think it's this big magical thing that happens, like it's so things, and sometimes it can be, but also it can be just as simple as transitioning into the heart consciousness, the soul, into that stillness, because that's when you awaken. And I use this concept, and you must step into the darkness, and not a dark in a negative way, but the dark into the unknown, so you can move into the light, into the sense of memory, so you can see the light. But sometimes people are afraid to lean into that dark because they're afraid to lean into the but knowing that you're always supported and loved and you move right through it.
So really interesting. Well, can we switch the word of the unknown? So if we can create anything we create, it is really the moment, and you spoke it about, I'm going to use your, Tawnya, you're all about pure, divine, eternal love. That's what you write. And it is the moment where we say, I can create everything because I understand everything that exists. I'm connected with everything that exists, right? And we are always constantly, the wind is moving us forward. I mean, the whole galaxy, the whole cosmos, we're always in this expansive state. Just that's what was it? So when we're in this expanded state, always moving forward, what was the word I didn't want? Unknown. So because then we do know everything. So we're familiar, maybe an unknown, that means we don't know, and we are taught of that we don't understand. So many religions have been misused, or authorities have misused people or whatever by telling them they do not understand, by telling they're not connected, by isolating people from each other, from their community, from families, from their culture. Yeah, it's a big thing. We have been disconnected from sacred languages, or languages of that we spoke back. So now it's the time where it comes together, so we do understand it, and we can say, if someone tells us, oh, you can't or you won't understand, one can say, no, I do understand, give me time, it's maybe different.
Yes.
And that we don't follow into the trap, oh, I'm less. So this is really what we're bringing. No one is less. We do not have to put people on pedestals or look down onto others, because we're all one, right? Equal. Mm-hmm. We do have different talents. Yeah, like you can hear. I wish I could ever hear. Yeah, it is. You hear, I can sing, we can feel, and everyone, but all our talents. It's time now that even they're not separated, but we move together and we utilize these talents to support each other, to raise up or to move forward, or to hold us back if we lean back, to get momentum to speed up forward again.
Yes, I love that. It brought me to a thing that I had said a few weeks ago. I said, can you imagine if everybody was doing what they wanted to do, what their heart desired in this world? We would have people waking up, being happy about going to work. And I think so many people are under this notion, well, then everybody would be a doctor. And I'm like, is that true, though? Because I brought this up in my podcast. I worked at a coffee shop. I loved my job. I love coffee, and I love talking to people. Mm-hmm. Loved that job. And I think it's because the money aspect, But I'm like, if you think about how the world would be a happier place if everybody got up and did what they wanted to do, oh man, that would be groundbreaking.
Yes, that is it. Because when we do what we want, we don't have to worry. Then we stop worrying.
Exactly.
Right? Then we don't stop, because we are so. It becomes a natural state. Or again, we come back to the state of knowing what we love to do. We know what we love to do. We know what to do next. It's when I say, often my body leads me. So even in a shop, if it turns me around, or take this piece of item, because I know it will be. Or if you go for a walk, or you walk around in a city, follow your body. Don't control even your body. And too often we're so taught to be controlling, or we think we have to control the body. So wonderful, yeah. So let's set that vision. Let's set that intention for everyone to do what they love.
Yes.
With the desire to love. and to express it, and that they can express it, that they do express it with joy and have lots of fun.
Yes.
And a wonderful feeling.
Yes.
And feeling fulfilled all the way from within and from
Yes.
all the way up from outside.
Yes, I absolutely love that.
Tawnya, this I think is a beautiful spot to thank you for this beautiful co-creative conversation, bringing your gifts to
And yours as well.
coming together with my gifts, and so with everyone else's gifts who's listening or viewing the Sacred Expressions show.
Yes. There's your summit right there. There's your summit name.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to do that. So
Yeah,
wonderful, wonderful. And I hope we're going to get together for many, many co-creative moments more.
Yes.
To accelerate. So what comes to is to accelerate this, because I believe it's time, and to speed ahead and to say yes, and yeah. You would like to say something, yeah, for at the end, like a little grand finale for everyone, or to everyone.
I would like to say thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. It was touching to the soul. Let me see if there's anything that we can leave everybody off with. So they won't stop saying it. They said, "Don't be afraid." They still use the word unknown. Unknown. Because it's changing, as you were describing, changing that language, because then the unknown becomes the known.
Oh,
there's that. Yeah, becomes the unknown. The unknown becomes the known. Moving past that fear, because moving past fear becomes determination, and determination becomes willpower, and willpower becomes movement, and movement becomes ease. And they show me a word as in you glide, and then you just glide into this knowing, and to exactly where you want to be. I really suggest everybody look up those positive adjective feeling words and really think about what you want to feel, because that's what you will create. And sitting down and being aware of where your thoughts are every day and where you are putting your energy in. Where you put most of your energy in is what will come back. So stepping back, anytime Spirit pulls me back and they turn the tables, that means stepping back out of your everyday, thinking about where you're putting your energy, where you're putting your thoughts, and figuring out, does that really align to your truth, to who you are, to where you want to go, to where you want to feel, to how you want to be. So then when you stop and you recognize, and this isn't something that I wish was just boom, we could fix it like that, because you have to stop when you start feeling, wait a minute, you can do this, be in a state, and then all of a sudden you go off and you're starting to yell at your kids, your husband, you get mad at traffic. Stepping back, turning the tables and saying, wait a minute, it's the effort on choosing you're wanting to make a different reality for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So calling on the angels, your light, calling on, and it doesn't have to be a thing. You can just call on the light. Just call on the light to help with this. It doesn't have to be a thing, an entity, a name. It's because a lot of people, I don't like a lot of language. I'd like to change the whole dictionary and change the whole language, because everything has an image, has a stigma to it, has a feeling. So much of that has feelings that we've already we think of this and it's already in our head. So just say the light. It's positive light, calling on that, because they'll support you every step of the way and helping you adjust and move into that path of ease.
Wonderful. Do you want to speak, Tawnya, where people can connect with you? So if they want to, do you want to say that?
My Facebook page, everything is Talking with the Angels. So my Facebook page is Talking with the Angels. My website is talkingwithangels.com. And my podcast is Talking with the Angels or Tawnya Moseley. I'm on Speaker, Stitcher, and iTunes. So, and a new iPod actually comes out today, so I will be recording that after we are done here.
Yeah, wonderful.
So,
Good luck. People are going to be very fortunate to get in touch with you and experience you fully.
Well, thank you for letting me have the opportunity to be a guest on your show. I appreciate it more than words can express. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tawnya. And I wish you a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Yes, you too. Bye.